The crimson dust of Krath 7 swirled around the bodies of the fallen. Sergeant Kayla Rinn crouched behind a jagged outcrop, her tactical suit torn and scorched, her rifle empty and discarded somewhere in the chaos below. Around her lay the remnants of Shadowpack, 12 of humanity's finest special operations soldiers, now silent beneath the alien sky. The Krathzul had herded them perfectly. Like prey animals driven toward a kill zone, Shadowpack had been forced backward step by bloody step, until the cliff's edge cut off their retreat. They had fought like demons, taking down 50 of the insectoid warriors for every human that fell, but numbers told their story, and the Krathzul had numbers to spare. Now only Kayla remained, standing at the precipice of a 300-meter drop into the canyon below. The Krathzul encirclement tightened, their chittering communication creating a symphony of anticipated victory. At the center of their formation, rising head and shoulders above his warriors, stood Varkos, the warlord who had earned his reputation crushing human resistance across 4 systems. His carapace bore the scars of 100 battles, and his forearms held weapons that had ended countless lives. Through the translation device at his thorax, his voice boomed across the killing ground. "Human warrior," Varkos called, his tone carrying something almost like respect. "You have fought well. Your pack died with honor. Surrender and I will grant you a swift death. This I promise on the blood of my hive." Kayla's lips pulled back from her teeth, not in fear but in something far more primal. She stood slowly, stepping away from cover, placing herself fully at the cliff's edge. Blood ran from a gash above her eye, and her breathing came hard through bruised ribs. But her eyes, those pale gray eyes that had earned her the call sign Wolf, blazed with an intensity that made even Varkos pause. "You don't understand," she said, her voice carrying clearly in the sudden stillness. "You never understood." The Krathzul warriors shifted, confused. Their prey should be cowering, begging. Instead, she stood tall, almost relaxed. "You think you hunted us," Kayla continued, reaching down to her belt. She pulled out her combat knife, just a simple blade, laughably inadequate against the weapons arrayed against her. "You think you drove us here? That you won." Varkos's mandibles clicked in amusement. "I see no alternative conclusion, human. You stand alone. Your pack is dead. Below you is death. Before you is death. This is the mathematics of warfare." Kayla's laugh cut through the air like broken glass. "Mathematics. You know what humans learned 10,000 years ago when we were still painting on cave walls?" She rolled her shoulders and something in her stance changed. Something ancient and terrible awakened in her movements. "We learned that the most dangerous predator isn't the one with the biggest claws or the toughest armor." She pointed the knife at Varkos. "It's the one with nothing left to lose." Before the warlord could respond, Kayla turned and leapt backward off the cliff. The Krathzul surged forward, but Varkos raised an arm, halting them. Through his optical enhancers, he watched the human's body arc through the air, falling, and then not falling. 50 meters down, Kayla's hand shot out, catching a jutting rock formation. Her body swung violently, but she held on, using the momentum to swing toward a narrow ledge. She hit hard, rolled, and was already moving before the Krathzul could process what they were seeing. "Impossible," Varkos breathed. "The fall. Send warriors down." His second-in-command chittered. "She cannot." The words died as Kayla disappeared into a cave mouth that had been invisible from above. Varkos's combat computer pinged with new data, and his blood ran cold. The cave system had connected to the canyon floor, to the supply depot, to his command center. "All units, defensive perimeter," he barked. But even as he gave the order, he knew. He had made a fatal error. He had given a human soldier, a special operations soldier, exactly what she needed. Terrain that negated his numerical advantage. In the darkness below, Kayla moved like water through stone. The caves were tight, winding, perfect for someone her size. Impossible for the bulky Krathzul warriors. She could hear them above, scrambling to reposition, to find entry points to intercept her. Too slow, always too slow. Her pack had died buying her this moment. Every second of their last stand had been calculated to drive the Krathzul into position, to make Varkos confident, to make him gather his forces in one place while leaving his rear vulnerable. Shadowpack hadn't been herded. They had been the bait, and Kayla was the hook. She emerged from the caves behind the Krathzul lines in the supply area where their weapons and power cores were stored. Two guards turned, mandibles clicking in alarm, but Kayla was already among them. Her knife found the weak points in their carapaces, points she'd studied, learned, memorized through years of fighting these creatures. The guards fell silently. She moved to the power cores, her fingers dancing across the alien controls. Human special forces learned to operate enemy equipment. It was doctrine. It was survival. It was vengeance. The timer set, Kayla melted back into the shadows. She had 3 minutes. Above, Varkos finally understood. The depot! Secure. The explosion lit up the canyon like a newborn star. The concussion wave threw Krathzul warriors from the cliff like leaves in a storm. Secondary explosions followed as ammunition and fuel reserves ignited in a chain reaction that turned the canyon into a crematorium. When the smoke cleared, half of Varkos's force was gone. The survivors were scattered, disorganized, their command structure shattered, and somewhere in the chaos, moving like a ghost through the confusion, Kayla Rin hunted. One by one, Krathzul warriors fell. A throat cut here, a weapon sabotage there. Panic spread through their ranks like poison. They fired at shadows, at each other, at nothing. Varkos stood in the center of the maelstrom, finally understanding the lesson. Humans weren't strong because of their weapons or their armor. They were strong because when you backed them into a corner, when you killed their pack, when you gave them nothing but death as an option, they became death itself. A blade pressed against the weak point beneath his head carapace. Kayla's voice was a whisper in his audio receptor. Let me show you how we hunt. The warlord's body fell as dawn broke over Krath 7. Kayla stood among the carnage. Her pack avenged, her mission complete. She activated her emergency beacon and waited for extraction. A lone wolf howling victory in a field of the dead.